If you're looking to apprentice yourself to somebody who's a high-level master, a mentor for you, it's not just a one-way thing. It's not just where they're going to give you all of their brilliance and knowledge. It's not about you. You got to drop this crap where you think about you. It's also about them. They used to have, back in the days when people were smarter about life and about what it takes to have success, they used to have controlled apprenticeships where you would go to learn a craft. I'm talking about the Middle Ages, basically. You would go to learn a craft, whether it was masonry or carpentry or painting or any of the great crafts back then. You would spend 7 years working to learn from a master. You were an apprentice. And during those 7 years, your work was intensive. And then afterwards, you were tested. And if you passed that, you became what is called a journeyman, where you can now go and practice the craft. And then maybe after 10 years of that, you'd become a master, a qualified master. And the wisdom in that is that through those 7 years of an apprenticeship, you would observe very closely from the person who was teaching you how things were done. You would interact with him or her on a day-by-day basis, and you would absorb their energy and their spirit and all their wisdom and all their intelligence. And it worked beautifully. And now we live in a world where all of us, when we're 22 or younger, we're just thrown out, and we have to act on our own. Nobody directs us. Nobody tells us what to do. There is no apprenticeship phase, really, that's formal, right? And the worst thing is, I know for me personally, you come out of this from schooling and for me, university, filled with all sorts of illusions and silly ideas about the world, about people, about what it means to get ahead, etc. And then you kind of make mistakes and you have to sort of find your own way. So what I'm trying to tell you is, in that period, which is roughly to me, ages your 20s, from 22 up to the age of 30, you need to kind of create your own apprenticeship phase. It's up to you to do it because your parents, your professors, your employers, they're not going to do it for you, right? It's up to you. And the thing that you want to do is, normally what's human nature and is an obstacle for us is we think first and foremost of ourselves. We want to impress people with our intelligence, with how brilliant we are. We're in a hurry to get attention. And that's not how you want to approach this time in your life. You want to turn this around. You want to make it so that you are a master observer of other people. You want to drop your ego as much as you possibly can and look at the world and look at the people in your line of work who are successful, who are doing the right things, and absorb their energy and absorb their spirit and learn as much as you can. We live in a world where skills are the key to success in the world, right? And it's not just one skill. You need to have 2 or 3 or 4 that you combine into some new kind of business or some new kind of venture, right? And so to develop those skills, that's what you're after. That's the goal that you want. You don't want, by the time you're 25, to have $500,000 in your bank account, right? You don't want to have all the most brilliant connections. What you want are skills, things that you've learned, that you've mastered to some degree, right? The more, the better. And so that's your goal in life. Your goal is to learn from people who are true masters in the field. If you can find a mentor, that's the best thing you can do, and apprentice yourself to that person. But the thing is, you want to learn and absorb as much as possible high-level skills. Now, when it comes to mentors, I have a personal experience. I happen to have Ryan Holiday served as my mentee, and I've since tried to find other people to do that role for me, and I haven't been successful, but basically because Ryan was so perfect in that role. And essentially what it is, if you're looking to apprentice yourself to somebody who's a high-level master or a mentor for you, it's not just a one-way thing. It's not just where they're going to give you all of their brilliance and knowledge. It's not about you. You got to drop this crap where you think about you. It's also about them. You have to be able to give to somebody. You have to be able to give to this master, this person who you want to learn from. You have to have things that you can offer him or her, right? I talk a lot in Mastery and in the month of February about the specific things. The most specific thing that you can give just to a mentor at some point is to save them time. Because people who have positions of power who are successful, they're always rushed for time. They never have enough of it. They're working way too hard. If you can find ways to save them time doing some of their work for them, they're going to love you and they're going to hire you and you're going to learn from this person. And then also finding someone that you have kind of an emotional relationship to. When you were in the university, you didn't have an emotional relationship to your professor, right? Probably, or hopefully at least. And that actually was an impediment to them. But the apprenticeship, the mentor-apprentice relationship is more like a parent to a child. And there is an emotional involvement where the mentor feels like they actually like the person that they're mentoring and that they want to give them. And this attachment between the two of you creates an opening where you're able to learn from them on a higher level. So taking this seriously, taking your 20s seriously, yes, it's a time for experimenting and adventure. I'm all for that. But your goal is to learn as many skills as possible. Yes, you can have fun in the process, and yes, you can try different jobs, but you have to have acquired several skills at least by the time you're 30. And then you can now do something on a much higher level with those skills. And second, you have to try and find somebody that you can apprentice for, hopefully somebody that you value, somebody that you respect. And this is the only way to kind of shorten the process, because I'm trying to make the point that to attain mastery in your work, to reach a level where you are powerful and successful and creative, you have to have absorbed hours and hours and hours and hours of practice, of learning, etc. And there used to be somebody come up with the 10,000 hour rule, which some people are now debating and saying that number is kind of bogus. But the idea, I think, is very valid, which is you have to do this certain number of hours of practice before the brain assimilates enough information to be kind of creative with whatever that you're doing, right? So there are no shortcuts to that. You have to learn these skills. It's going to take time. It's going to involve some tedium. It's going to involve some boredom. But there's no shortcut for that. But finding someone that you can apprentice to, who can teach you in a one-on-one relationship, they're going to help you shorten that process to a degree. So with Ryan, for instance, when it came time for him to write his first book, I could kind of teach him things that I had learned painfully on my own about what it took to write a good book the first time, how to organize the material, how to find the right structure for it, how to do the research, how to take note cards, etc. And through that, I was probably able to save him some of the pain and some of the months and years that I had gone through developing this system. That's what a great mentor can do for you. It's the only way that you kind of shorten the painful process of gaining real, true skills in life. So the main lesson is to take your 20s seriously and to try and say that it's not about me, it's not about getting attention, it's not about making money, but it's about learning as much as you can. And that's, to me, the ultimate kind of source of power in this world. It's extremely, extremely gratifying. It makes me feel like, yeah, I had something to teach somebody, and he, I've tried doing this with other people as well, because I like the feeling of giving back to others, because I've had success and I have a reasonably easy life compared to what a lot of people are going through. And there's a little bit of guilt involved in that, and I want to give back to other people things that I've learned, and I've tried with other people to do something similar. It hasn't worked so well because they don't listen. They're all full of themselves. They think that they know what it is. They're in their 20s, but they're full of hubris. They think that they know better than I do what it takes to become successful. And Ryan is the only person who actually listened to me, who actually observed, who actually could lower his ego. And it's kind of ironic because he wrote the great book on that, The Ego is the Enemy. But it was true about him. I mean, I met him when he was 19. It was true about him when he was in his early 20s. He could drop his ego. I could criticize him, which is something that is a valuable lesson for people out there. You know, sometimes you have to be able to take criticism, and it's painful and it hurts. But if your teacher, if your mentor can't criticize you, every time you criticize them, they take it personally and they get all upset and they get their back up. There's no point to it. You're not going to learn. But Ryan is the only person I can remember who, when he was doing research for me for my book, 33 Strategies of War, I gave him direction. I said, this isn't quite what I was looking for. This isn't quite right here. We want to go in this other direction. I was sort of gentle with it, but I was kind of firm. He never got upset. He listened to it. And the next time around, he demonstrated to me through his research reports that he got exactly what my idea was. And so, you know, a person like that is 1 in a million, I'm afraid. And I've discovered the hard way that there are not so many people out there like that. But I know from my vantage point, finding just one person like that is immensely satisfying because it kind of validates me. I mean, it's not really about me, but in some way it gives me a sense of satisfaction. And then, of course, now he's so much more powerful and famous than I am that there's a sense of envy that I have for my own former apprentice who has outshone the master. I'm basically joking there, but there's a little bit of truth to that. But anyway, I'm extremely satisfied for him.